equally as creepy.
Hello, guys, and welcome to Behind the Bunker episode something ridiculous. Sorry, I don't have that in front of me. My name is Todd Ensich. Thank you very much. This is our weekly paintball program. We are broadcasting live tonight, as we do every Monday night and now Saturday night for the quarantine show. You guys are going to have to check that out. And every other night of the week, we are broadcasting a new to you episode that has happened sometime over the last couple of years. Still relevant information, still fun, so check them out. We do that every night of the week at 8 o'clock, other than our real live shows, which are Monday and Saturday, just to confuse things. But tonight, we have everybody back in studio, or sort of in studio. We're in our own separate quarantine studios. We have Joe Kimson from Flaggers Paintball in the Hollywood Squares top left.
Greetings and thanks for tuning in. Just so everybody knows, we wanted to bring everybody a show tonight, and we will continue to do so, but it is not the normal quality. You might see a kid scurry through the background, or someone's wife or something go through, or there might be a glitch, but stay with us because we're bringing you behind.
What did you call your wife?
Pew. I said glitch.
And we have Gavin Charmer from TerraTech Industries.
That's right, and I don't have a wife, so there will be nobody scurrying past me. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in, and make sure, as I say every week, and Saturdays now too, hit like and share so people know what's going on. It is quarantine central, not a lot going on in the entertainment world. You're not going to find entertainment here, but misery loves company, so hit like and share or start a watch party because, hey, it's Monday night.
And why not? And we have Matt the Crypt on camera instead of behind pushing. Matt's not pushing any buttons tonight, so the pressure's on tonight to perform.
Yeah, Zoom is doing that for me. Good evening, fellow Quarantinos. Hope you have your beverage and ready for a gong show.
There you go. Oh, I have to do this. There, I can see Matt now. And then we have Josh Zuby Zabrikis in the bottom square.
Yes, I too am here. Or at home.
Do you have any beverage in front of you? Oh, classy guy drinking out of a pickle jar. Okay, that takes it better. And then we have our...
Class it up enough for you, Ansich?
A little bit. And then we have, all the way from First Strike, we have Mr. Ben Larson. Mr. Ben, how are you?
I am surviving. It's week 3 with my entire family in my house, so things are getting on a little edgy.
Amen.
How much family do you have in your house?
I have. The farm includes my wife, 3 kids, 2 dogs, and 2 cats.
Okay, so that's not too bad. I was picturing in-laws like I have, so that's...
yeah. No,
well, I have
no,
8 in-law.
there.
Just one in-law, yeah. And recently short 1 dog, so now we're down just 1 dog. But that's okay. And what are you drinking there?
I have a Captain and Sprite, which is a new thing that I've been trying. It's pretty delicious.
Yeah. What you have to do is really hammer that
it's
home.
It's called the Captain and whatever's left in the house.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's a really good point, Zuby. With quarantine and people not shopping, there'll be some real neat experiments going on in terms of your libations, right?
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, we're watching you guys in the live chat. You guys can't see this, but I'll have everybody posting up at home. I see Richard Knott, Lead Farmer, Ryan McGee, Brent Davis, Dan and Hardy. And speaking of Brent Davis, I want to tell you guys tonight, and I'll mention this a couple times tonight. If your field or you yourself want to get anything from Air Ups, whether it's a paintball field, a new one, a new shiny one, or even a water blob for the for the summertime, hit Brent up. Hit him this week because I convinced him to give me a BTB code. So if you guys call him up and say you heard it on BTB, he will do something fancy for price. I can't tell you what it is. It's too crazy. But check it out. Give Brent a call, but orders have to be placed within the next week or so. Obviously, it's quiet right now, so he can produce a lot of great fun things. So if you guys want something, go at him right now, and he may even let you tickle his goatee. There we go. All right. And do I still have you guys audio-wise?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You have it, so
Everyone's been muting
I keep seeing you guys mute yourselves.
I was dinging the bell.
That's right.
Oh, we don't have a...
I can download the Bell app on my
Todd,
phone.
don't leave. Don't forget about the bell, damn it.
This is like a horrible Brady Bunch episode. I keep feeling like I have to look down.
If we had 3 more people on, we could have like a Brady Bunch. You can have the bed in the background.
If we get 2 more people, we could have Hollywood Squares.
Let's not and say we didn't.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
All right. So we have all of you jerkasses in every week, but we don't get a chance to have Ben Larson on. Ben Larson, as you guys know. Ben, what is your title at First Strike right now?
Oh, lead janitor.
Custodian.
That and custodian. No, I'm more or less the general manager these days of the division. So inside of the UTS umbrella, there is First Strike, there's Pepperball, and then we have our new division, which is the Pepperball Consumer Division.
Nice.
So I sit over the recreational side.
Now, is it a separate company, or do you guys still have it in the same factory where you guys manufacture adult toys?
All the same factory.
Okay.
Just we have different leadership for each division because they are so unique to each other.
Yeah. Do you spend much time over in product and development over there?
Well, I share some of my resources. As you guys know, Scott Quarles, he's my lead project manager. He's taken on a lot of responsibility company-wide. So we're a lean and mean machine, so we all chip in where we can.
We enjoy the Quarles. I don't think I could have him visually on the screen. He would take away from everyone else. But
he is a super stud.
Super stud. Hashtag super stud.
Hashtag super stud.
See, now he can tune out. He's heard it.
Yeah.
he can go to bed.
We've preached about Scott.
Yeah. So Ben Larson, for those of you guys who may not know, Ben, how did you get your start in paintball? Were you that kid that went to a birthday party, or how did you get your first foray into paintball?
Oh boy, that would have been circa. I'm a relative newcomer compared to you guys. Likely, I was new to the sport around 99, 2000. Played recreationally in like Flint, Michigan, that area, Lapeer. That's where I grew up. Played on the Michigan State club team.
Okay.
Back in would that have been 2000? I'm sorry, 98 to 2001, somewhere in there. And I met a couple through the local store there. I met a rep from PMI, and managed to find my way into a meeting or interview with Billy Saransky. And I graduated on a Saturday, moved to Chicago on a Sunday, and started working at PMI on a Monday.
That's right. So, PMI was in Chicago. Joe, you and I visited it while it was there.
When they were in Pursuit Marketing, yeah.
Yeah. And how long were they in Chicago for?
They had always been in Chicago. Yep.
Yeah.
They started in 1982 in Chicago.
Yeah. I remember, and this is no disrespect to the company, but I remember Joe and I talking about going there. We were in Chicago. We're going to stop it and check it out. And I had this picture in my mind of what a paintball company was going to look like. I thought it was going to be this real glass block sort of place with models and bars everywhere. And we came in, and there was still wood paneling from my basement in the lobby, and it was not as glamorous as I thought it was going to be.
So I came in the last facility, which was in Des Plaines. I think you visited an earlier office. That was the last office before the key thing came to be. So
okay.
It was certainly the biggest warehouse, a little more modern, so it wasn't too awful terrible.
So how did PMI turn into Key then? What had happened at that point?
Yeah, there was no. It was a merger acquisition by a private equity group that brought Vulcan and PMI together and created Key Action Sports.
Now, was it Vulcan and PMI, or was it National?
National Paintball.
Okay.
Gino, David Freeman, and Jeff Perlmutter. Those are the names that came together.
Okay.
That goes back a long time.
And then was that before Brass Eagle JT?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that was going on at the same time, I think.
Oh, wait. The Brass Eagle JT merger?
Yeah.
No, Brass Eagle was a separate entity.
Yeah, that I'm not as well versed in. I was there when we then at Key bought JT. And then shortly thereafter, likes of me and Billy and Aaron Wisniewski and John Rathman were all relocated to Bentonville.
Okay.
So I was there for that.
Okay.
So.
Someone in the live chat, Lee Williams has, you mean PMI, didn't they do the Black Max?
They did do the Black Max.
The Black Max
Piranhas.
was a piece of plastic crap, but it got a lot of people into the sport. And
It did.
if memory
didn't it?
serves, it was $79 that Gavin, when Gavin was working for us, it sold for $79. It was a great beginner marker.
It's a semi-automatic entry-level marker. Is that
And
the same era as, sorry.
If it was released today, that could also double as toilet paper. So you know what? It would have had better success now.
Oh, it served well as a weight to keep your toilet paper from rolling away.
Yeah.
No,
So
it's just a crude bidet.
Oh, ouch.
well, it's air powered.
No. How does he make a comment like that and just get up and walk away?
That's-
Why?
That's
You,
Walk away.
you're talking about
It's like-
T-Bone?
It's like we're in the
Leaving
studio.
on a high note.
Why no T-Bone?
It's done.
So Ben, when you were at PMI at that point, what was your position? Were you in sales?
I was a regular old sales guy. I took care of most of the West Coast.
Nice.
I started, as a sales assistant there for a while, for a year, and then I quickly kind of took over most of the reins out of that warehouse, and I had a little army of fellas that worked for me. I had a guy out on the road out in California and a sales assistant, and we split the country up right around that same time frame. So,
And I think we met Ben Larson before leaving Key. We knew you. We knew you when you were Key. We were fledgling.
You would have probably saw me the most. And this is where most guys recognize me. Is I ran the evil truck at all the NPPLs and PSPs.
Yeah.
Ooh, there you
So
go.
that is where you've probably seen this business.
Okay, Josh is too scared to ask you, but can he get some evil swag?
I had a guy that was working for me that worked back at PMI, and that was just packed to the gills with the evil swag. I'm like, all my stuff is long gone. I think I do have a pair of gloves laying around here and there.
I have a brand new pair of evil pants in the basement wrapped up in a bag still.
Yeah.
Now, let me
Nice.
ask you: if you worked in the evil truck, does that qualify you as an Omen tech?
No. There's no tech. No tech
Ouch.
qualities.
Because
to
nobody's
me
qualified
whatsoever.
for that.
Yeah.
So
I've actually we were talking about this. I played an event, a little tiny, it was an OCC event back in the day, ICC in the Midwest, and John Rathbun, myself, a couple other guys, we played with Omens, and it surprisingly, you get one that worked. It worked really well. It was just 1 in 1,000 that worked amazing.
yeah.
I was about to call you a liar because you said you played with one.
I did.
How many did they produce?
Yeah.
Oh,
7.
too many, and not enough all at the same time.
I remember having one, and I sent it back, and they said, "Send it back. We'll fix it for you." And they had this upgrade, and essentially what they did was replace the entire bolt with some sort of squishy bolt, something for the bolt to bounce back off of, and then maybe a new reed because the tone was not right, and it still didn't work. But I had huge high hopes for it. That was Jay DeVoe who was working in London.
OJ.
Yeah,
Yep.
that did that for us. And I think when he gave it back to me, he kind of gave it back sheepishly, going, "Here you go. It should be good now.
Luck, man."
Don't take this as your only marker to the tournament."
Yeah, that was a rough project.
Yeah.
It was years in the making, and by the time it got there, it was already too late. And
But if you think about it as a concept, it had a smokestack on it, which is what people were paying for aftermarket. It didn't need a ball sensor or an eye sensor because it would literally move in, or whack in a ball every time that it cycled. It was a good idea.
yes, yeah.
It was a good idea.
Our biggest issue was, from a tournament segment, those were the best years of Evil Paint. That was the white shell, pink fill, Evil Paint, and the yellow, green, Marbleizer.
Yep.
That stuff, you breathed down it the wrong way. It was amazing paint, but if you breathed down it the wrong way, you couldn't get it out of the end of the gun to save your life.
I was watching last night. We re-aired an episode with Simon Stevens, and we were talking about paint. And we're really the question was about barrel systems, and we got on to paint. Paint back then was a heavier ball, slightly bigger than it is now, but certainly heavier, and that's what made it shoot better. And you know, when people back in the day say back in the day paint was better, it was. You know, and it's not just an old timey guy saying it was the truth.
That white paint, the white paint was my favorite, and that ran a 692 most of the time insert, and that I think sometimes was running small.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to interrupt this conversation, but I do really appreciate, and our viewers should as well, our friend Matt the Crypt. This is the first time you guys can see him rolling his eyes, shaking his head. I mean, this is what we get to experience every Monday night.
And this,
and now you can actually watch his frustration. Yes. So,
yes, he rolls rolls his eyes and flaps his arms and gets us going and keeps us on track and throws things at us, not just jubes and Hershey kisses, but other things like that.
And now you guys can fully appreciate what we see every Monday night.
His pain.
Yeah. John Jones in the live chat says that was awesome paint. John Romano in the live chat also says it was also $100 a case. Okay, whatever you paid for paint back in the day is what we should be paying more now. Right now, whatever it is, we're 10 years later and we're paying half the price of what we used to. That makes no sense in our industry.
In no other sport whatsoever anywhere are you paying less for stuff now than you did 10 years ago.
Yeah. Zane Smith wants to offer some fundraising cash for Food Bank if I take my hat off. I love the Food Bank and I do everything I can, but I'm not taking my hat off, friend.
That's just selfish, Todd. That is absolutely selfish.
They can starve. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Todd, and that's our last program.
And Todd's been kicked off the show.
Yeah.
May I read into your comments a little earlier about paint? Like you said, it was a heavier shell, it was a little thicker. Are you saying in a roundabout sort of way that you prefer 45 over 9 mil?
No, I don't. I love all millimeters, and rounds, and I have most packed in the safe downstairs, so I'm good to go. But for paint, for sure, the heavier the better.
Yeah,
the heavier the better.
Yeah. So
I prefer my rounds kill phone books.
That's a 5.7. I have one of those too.
Jeez.
You know what a 5. You got. I don't know how deep you get. You Canadians are rolling.
We're only allowed to have up to 8 millimeter caliber. That's it.
Yeah.
No. So we're talking PMI. We're talking key. So you were there for how many years?
Oh, let's see. Started in 2002. I took a couple breaks from paintball. I left in 2005-ish. When it was still PMI. I came back after it was key.
Yeah.
Right. I was there for a handful of years.
During the heyday.
After the JT acquisition and the Kingman acquisition. When I came back, I more or less did mostly the big box retail stuff. All your Walmart, your Dick's, your Sports Authority when they were still around. Canadian Tires for you guys.
Yes, sir. And it's just Canadian Tire. We can only afford one at a time.
Oh, you only got one tire? Yeah. Okay. All right. And then, let's see, about 8 years ago, would have been 8 years ago, I went from Arkansas, or from Bentonville. I moved to Denver and worked for a rep agency for sporting goods, working closely with Sports Authority.
Yeah.
When you started to see the big box retail world falling apart around itself, I got a call from another name from the past, and that would be George Urick, who was the general manager of PMI and Key when I was there. At that point, he had put together an acquisition through private equity of Tiberius Arms, Pepperball, Gorilla Air, and Perfect Circle.
Yeah.
And three of those guys kind of were involved with each other. But he had given me a call and said, the recreational division needed some serious help. was kind of rudderless, and so that's where I kind of came back in. Like I just keep coming back. I can't try to leave paintball, but it keeps dragging me back in.
Yeah, look at us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh Luby Zabrickas had his own spin-off. You know, Joe got into politics for a while. Gavin, you don't want to know what he got into. Matt's out of the halfway house.
According to Brian Barno, I'm in prison right now. This is my cell, right? So he wants to GoFundMe to get me some pictures back here.
Yeah.
Right? But
we were going to have Brian Barno come up and visit us this month, but thank God for the coronavirus. He's stuck where he is in Chesapeake Creek City. So, yeah, Brian, you're still going to come up, and if you do, you have to make sure you stay over on a Monday night. Yeah. So, all right. So,
oh, look at that.
There you go.
Ben, do you remember this catalog?
I do remember that catalog.
This catalog, I think there's no. Pardon?
Did you just have that like by your couch?
He got up and left.
Have you seen that episode of Hoarders, Matt?
It was downstairs in my filing cabinet, and I knew it was there. And then we were talking about PMI, so I went and grabbed it. There's no date on this calendar. However, if I do some detective work, there's an HPA tank on it, and the date of manufacture is 06-2000. So if you figure if this went to print 6 months before that, or even a year before that, it's a 99 or 98 catalog.
That catalog was still around when I got there, so I'm not quite sure.
Well, we used to order from Key using that catalog and the national catalog. We were allowed.
Right.
There was enough stuff in both of them that we could get through there, and then we would talk to what was her name, Sherry from National.
Yes, Sherry was from National, and she came and then ended up working at Key Empire and Key.
Yeah. So here's a question: that catalog in that time period when you were working with Key and PMI. What was your best-selling product or something that you sold lots of? And I'll tell you, I'll give you one of the things that I think. Joe and I sold more Piranhas in a number of years than we've sold any other marker.
It was a flame drop forward.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
But what do you think was the number one or some of the highest selling items?
Well, we can go through part numbers that I remember. So 40120 was your 20-ounce tank. That would be your number one seller.
Over 16 ounce, really?
The 16 ounce wasn't invented yet.
Yep. The 40648 was the 48 3K. The 40668 was the 68 4500. So those are your top three that everyone would order.
And that's the reason why that was the peak of paintball, because people would buy 20-ounce tanks willingly. They would ask you to buy it, then come back a month later and go, yeah, I want that high pressure air. Yeah. And you'd get two sales within a couple of months. And it wasn't for you like trying, they just refused to buy it until they've seen other people in work. And it really, the only reason why high pressure air took off is because you could self-fill them. That really was the only thing. But sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
There's a 5,000 PSI tank.
Yeah.
I remember my first HBA tank was out of that catalog. And I walked into the store and I said to Joe, I need a new CO2 tank. And he went, well, you really shouldn't. I went, okay. And then he launched into this half-hour explanation of HPA. And half an hour later, I bought a tank just to get him to shut up.
There you go.
Yeah, but you know what? It rightfully so.
Yeah.
He wasn't wrong.
No.
Yeah. So, I guess it depends on the time frame that I was there. Early on, we actually still distributed Tippmann 98s. So, I moved a ton of Tippmanns alongside the Piranhas. And
they're in here.
From a paint standpoint, again, I dealt mostly with California, where it was already a bad market pricing-wise. But, PMI Premium was, if I couldn't shoot Evil, you shoot Pink Premium. Those are my two favorite balls.
Yeah.
Ding.
Yeah.
There we go. Look at All-Star Premium Altigra
LT Gray.
And
Slam.
Custom Ball.
But see, remember the Altigra in the same color Matt is wearing right now with the orange and the brown? That was good paint.
I think this catalog predates anything Evil as well.
Yes,
Nice,
that
Matt.
was long before Evil.
Yeah. before we continue on that, and I want to get back to that in just a second, Ben, can I tell you something important? Did you know that Planet Eclipse, Ben,
Certainly.
is the creators of the most incredible tournament paintball markers, soft goods, and gear? They have the winningest paintball markers in paintball, and now innovators in mechanical actions, including the M170R and the M100 MagFed Marvel.
Next to the Omen, right? We're talking
Next to the
excluding the
Omen.
Omen discussion.
We can't put Planet Eclipse and Omen in the same paragraph.
Just
Enola
did.
Gay
Just did.
is the world's leading manufacturer of smoke grenades, thunderflash, airsoft, and paintball grenades for use in theater, film, and photography. And of course, paintball. Pull a tab at your next event. #PopSmoke.
And Arabs are proudly made in the USA. Thick welded seams, stainless steel hardware, multiple color options and layouts are available. 2020 fields are shipping. Ask for full color printing and custom logo options. Customize your next field with Arabs.
And if you guys want anything from Aerups tonight, sorry, Josh, if you want anything from Aerups, guys, make sure you go and order something this week. Tell them BTB sent you Behind the Bunker, and you will get a super price. But you got to order this week. Tell them that we said that we sent you, and check out that special pricing.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Todd.
It's your show.
Ruthless Paintball Products caters to both professional players and weekend warriors. They have set a new level of paintball playing apparel. You can head over to the website now and use a more important promo code of BTB15 to get 15% off their products, not just Arrows.
And more than just swabs and pads, Exalt is a way of life. Available at discerning retailers, fields, shops, and shows. Tournament ready, battle proven, Exalt.
In the beginning, you fall out of a tree, you stumble down a rocky cliff, you wade chest deep through a mosquito-infested bog, then you realize you're surrounded. It's party time. You own a Tippmann, now combined Empire, JT, Tippmann, and V-Force. You get the world's largest distributor of everything paintball, GI Sports.
DLX Technologies, guys, is the manufacturer of the Lux paintball marker, as well as other great product lines like the SP Shocker, the GOG Enemy, and the Freak Barrels. A longtime manufacturer of paintball gear, they have the product that you can trust, and the product's outstanding.
For over 50 years, Altama has proudly carried militaries from across the globe through every challenging environment, including malls, jungles, deserts, and urban battlefields. Make Altama your next paintball, airsoft, or everyday shoot. Look for Altama Original SWAT or First Tactical at a leading retailer near you.
The not old ninjas wear black with advanced colorways and coatings, adjustable regs, remote lines, fill stations, hydro testing, and so much more. Ninja products have what it takes to keep you out in the front and always in the game. And do not forget, of course, they are made in America.
Very good. Matt, you got anything, or are you okay?
Actually, can I offer any of you a Werther's Original?
How old are you?
Have you had the new ones?
Get off my lawn.
The soft caramel coating on the inside?
Like these guys?
No, the Werther's ones.
Yeah, Werther's.
Is that
jerk.
the new one? Oh, I couldn't read it. Come on.
Hey, two things. Richard not in the live chat. As soon as we started getting into our reads, he started typing in the beginning, and you fall out of a tree. It's pretty bad when you guys know our reads as well as us. And John Romano in the live chat says, remember the old PMI-shaped bunkers, the yellow Piranha? They were made by Sup Air. I have never seen any that actually stayed inflated. They were terrible. The battery-operated ones and the snake with the head of the snake. Oh, those were so terrible. Yeah.
We were just our tech at our office is a relative newcomer. He's a MagFed guy. He's been playing for a while, but never played on 10-man fields. And I had to explain to him what a car wash was and piranhas and pyramids and the old JT giant pyramid field.
And we used to call them nipples. The things, the mini rockets, I guess.
But honestly, don't you miss days like that with really creative type bunkers and just like Dynasty, Alex Reggie going through the car wash and just mowing people down, right? It's just it was exciting, right? Yeah. Versus every other field that looks the same way.
So we know what a car wash is.
Gavin, we all miss Hyperball.
But what did they call the big bunker in the Millennium series that had the straggly pieces of fabric coming down?
I thought that was a car wash.
That's a car wash.
That was the car wash.
That was the car wash? Okay.
Yeah.
There was two car washes. That was the second car wash. The first car wash was like a 4-post house-looking thing, right? Yeah. That was 2000 NPPL in Gettysburg.
Yeah.
That time frame.
everyone will know.
There was,
Most people will know this, but where was the first Sup Air bunkers featured? What tournament in North America?
Don't say Skyball.
No,
It was not Skyball.
no, it was IAO in Cranberry.
International Amateur Open.
And and this really bothers me. It's not Sup Air, it's Soup Air.
But they're not super.
Yeah,
But,
no,
okay,
they
'cause
are not.
It's a French pun. Super is super in French, right? So it was super anyway.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was
Fun.
bothers
And you
me.
guys missed one car wash. It was working at the car wash.
That's the 70s, bro.
That's the face Matt makes all the time when I say a dad joke.
Yeah.
Sometimes I appreciate the puns.
But bunkers have gone a long way. They actually hold air. They don't have battery packs in it anymore. Like the biggest problem
those
that
tubes,
the tubes, Jerry.
What happened to Gavin? Some glitching.
Gavin's having a seizure right now.
Right? Yes. They used to have like tubes running all over the field from bunker to bunker.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good back. No,
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, you're
That's
back
my
now.
toast.
That was
Good.
perfect
All right.
timing, though. All right, well, so let's move on from Key. We could talk about Key forever. So you left. So after you left Key, is that when you started working for the First Strike and...
No. After I left Key, I worked for a rep group in Denver.
Okay.
And was there for about a year and a half and did all sorts of weird stuff from like OEM camping, so tents and sleeping bags and stuff for private label product. But that's when George gave me a shout, and then I headed over to UTS.
Nice. So we saw you
Remember when
guys...
came in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frangibility, buddy.
Frangibility.
You in your fancy suit coming up to us, and we're like, what? What are you doing over here?
I haven't had a suit in ages.
What was I going to say? We so you moved over to the First Strike group, and we saw you there again at Paintball Extravaganza in your booth. You guys had a great booth. It lacked product the first day. Did you ever get your product back?
No, there's been zero update on that. That product is long gone.
I'll be
Probably in the
sea for a millennium.
Yeah, that's too bad. It was probably hawked for some fried chicken.
Oh,
Have you?
Maybe.
That's fried chicken.
But if you've had Gus's fried chicken, you can understand the motivation.
Yep. And in the
In
the grand scheme of things, we were hit pretty lightly compared to some of the other guys. I think they grabbed 3 of our FSC pistols and an air system. So in the poor Umarex guys, they just got it was a wholesale clean out for those guys.
So it was a challenging event. You and other people got hit. Overall, you take that away. What would you say was your experience with the Paintball Extravaganza?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Let's see here. So for us,
So can it say you spent far too much time with us?
no. For Extravaganza for us, it's been a struggle since I've been back for sure. And working with those guys, I've expressed my frustration with that event. Just from the foot traffic, but there's no secrets there. Everyone knows that foot traffic is troubling, and how to get that foot traffic up is the golden question. For me, though, in the grand scheme of things, we've been able to show in the last 3-4 years incremental new product that typically gets people excited. And we saw that again this year when we showed off the new Roscoe revolver and some of the other the 15 cubic inch bottle and just new stuff that's really sitting outside the box from the rest of the paintball world. Considering the sizes that we are, some of our competitors, they don't to do the business we do, they wouldn't even get up in the morning. So considering the budget we're working on and the size we are, we still do seem to churn out some pretty innovative stuff, and that's what we're kind of holding our hat on. Yeah. And so when we go to PBE, it certainly validates that, right? When we go home that first night or go back up to the room and you click on social media and really the product that we show seems to be the most talked about product amongst different forums and different pages. So that part's pretty exciting, right? And that's what kind of keeps us going for the whole year.
Yeah. Well, your booth was good, but I would place it a close second to the person beside you, and I'm not going to bring up who they were. They had the most inclusive booth that I've seen in the whole show when their shower curtain was open.
And don't say anything.
No.
Don't say anything. Close second.
I felt like I could have worn my shower cap
you.
in there and had yes.
So,
But whatever.
You guys always have a neat array of new products and stuff. And what's sort of neat about the industry is, you know, a couple of years ago, people would show something at Extravaganza and it would be months or years before it even came out. But now, you know, stuff's on the water or nearly in pre-production. So it's pretty fantastic.
We've done a little bit of both. You know, there's some products that we can talk about that we've showed off that aren't here yet. But there's some products that have gotten here pretty quick, you know, and for us, again, the size of that we are, it's a good tool to have in your quiver, because if no one wants it and you can learn that right away without sinking a bunch of development money, which I don't have, you know, it's a good way to gauge interest and you know, launch some pre-sales and hit the ground running. Yeah. But you know, and if it's a turd, you kill it and move on, right?
Hey, John Romano in the live chat says, I want to see First Strike continue showing up to all the blue chip events. I saw Ben at the last 3, a year ago now.
Yeah. You know, certainly we've tried to go to more and more games. We've historically focused really on the big MagFed games, so the Dominions out in California, the 0 Hours in New York, some of the EMR games. You know, again,
the Flag Raider game.
The Flag Raider game.
You give us good representation at our events, but we sold a good amount of First Strike rounds, and I'm going to do probably 2 events this year that we allow First Strike. You know that we're not super First Strike friendly, but we're definitely going to do 2 events that First Strike are allowed.
But with that being said, our field is 90. Maybe that's higher than it should be, but 90% of people that walk on our rental field are rentals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why. I mean, we have to hold off the First Strikes until we have a day where the field is closed and all participants are aware of it and people are happy to use them.
Yeah.
But you know, you can't.
I mean, First Strike rounds. You know, we can have 3 hours of discussion on First Strike rounds and everyone's opinion and all that good stuff. It's just another facet to the game.
Yep.
You know, it's an electronic trigger. It's a
tank.
Barrel. It's
tank.
Know,
it's Nerf. It's Nerf rockets. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just another piece, and you know, you can use it. You don't have to use it. We've never been one to say, "Hey, listen, everyone needs to be able to use this product." We just want people to be able to use the product.
But you know, here's an example. You know, we went down to Super Game last year, and there was tanks on the field. There were Nerf rockets on the field. There was First Strikes on the field. Everybody knew it, and that's how you played the game. And it was a blast, right? Mm-hmm. You can't take away from that. But you can't put any of that stuff on the field with rental kids when they just don't know any better. So it's a time and a place, right?
Yep. And, and it certainly seems to be an equalizer for you know, I would tell you some older guys, right? You know, our demographic is a little older than the regular paintball guy. The guys that may have played a lot, you know, 15 years ago. Well, they don't have the wheels they used to have, but they can go out and play MagFed, and they can shoot a guy who's across the field that has, you know, a Planet Eclipse gun that's, you know, ramping away. You know, he's got a fighting chance to get up and close to him now. Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure.
That's been the good part, right?
You have those that like First Strike don't like it; they love it. And good for them. And I mean, I get the fascination. I do enjoy First Strikes. They shoot awesome. But I also see guys going that extra mile where they're sanding and shaving their First Strikes and they're balancing them and they're doing stuff to them.
Yep.
And that fascinates me. That's a lot of time.
But you know, you can look at similar industries, you know, the precision shooting industries that are doing match grade stuff, and they're weighing the rounds and they're making sure. You know, there's a time and place. The guys shooting Karmatech guns and, you know, bolt actions and pump guns where literally every shot counts. It makes a ton of sense.
Ben, I may have to cut you off for a second. Matt, don't you think you've had enough of those Werthers?
I've had more alcohol than Werthers.
He's enjoying the shit out of it.
No kidding.
Is he in quarantine at his grandparents' house?
Are you dating a 70-year-old woman?
Make it rain.
Ben, let's
Matt's trying
talk.
to eat them before his dentures have to be put in.
Todd just mentioned quarantine. You're in outside of Chicago, northern Illinois, on the Wisconsin border. What is sort of sound a little bit like CNN now? What's the feeling, and what are people's thoughts there?
Here, we were one of the first states right after California to kind of lock down. Schools were canceled. I think everyone's still cautiously optimistic.
Well, all the kids are safe in your state now.
Yeah, sure. But we as recently as this week have a case in our neighborhood, right? So, and it's a gentleman who's in his early 50s and, was semi-retired and wasn't leaving the house much anyway. So, those are the scary ones that, is like the guy was kind of doing everything he needed to be doing and went to a grocery store and grabbed the wrong loaf of bread or something. Who knows what really happened, but it hits close to home.
Heard he had a bat sandwich.
There's a lot of bad food in Chicago, but it's mostly Italian based. Yeah. So, that wasn't the case here. So
don't you have good deep dish pizza?
Sure. I'm not from Chicago originally, so it's not my go-to.
Yeah. Ben, with the whole world shutting down, how does that impact First Strike with the season coming up?
There's a lot of question marks, right? For sure for us, the spring brings a lot of MagFed only games and big games that consume a lot of First Strike rounds. No one has necessarily canceled any games yet. Everything's being postponed. So where our real fear is today is that, everything's going to get back up and going in June, July. Everyone's going to reschedule these games in July, August, September, and now there's going to be a game or 3 on every weekend.
Yeah.
And we all know that just, the kids can't afford to go play every game at every, two in the same day at different locations. So that's where we're most nervous that there will be some cannibalization at some point, just with the sheer volume of games that are going to be lumped in a smaller window. Dealers, the last 2 weeks have been the busiest 2 weeks that I've had, not necessarily from a sales standpoint, but just a dealer discussions and, where do you think you're going to be? How's it feeling out there? What's your neck of the woods like? Where's your guys' heads at? And, the fields are like you guys, they're a little nervous, stores,
sure.
Yeah.
Depending on where they're at, they're still pretty optimistic.
Yeah. We're closed. Like our fields are closed and it doesn't bother me. What bothers me is not having an end date. Like it would be nice to know that it was April 30th, August 30th, whatever it was. That once that date is announced or whatever is figured out, at that point, then we can strategize and do what we have to do. But yeah, that's the worst.
That is certainly the hard part, and in talking to a lot of fields and stores, the hard part was everyone was starting to see some pretty good indicators that this year was going to be a great year.
Yeah,
agreed. Agreed.
Like a off the radar, blindsided. In 30 days ago,
early spring and stuff. The snow had melted. It was looking promising.
That was the great disappointment for me about Extravaganza. We left and we heard from a lot of people like this season's going to be good. People seem to be on the up and up. They were upbeat and optimistic about it, and then all of a sudden this hit, and I thought, oh shit, there goes all that momentum.
I mean, game registrations seem to be up across the board. Our spring load-in orders were very healthy. And that we're talking 30 days ago, right? That it just kind of got flipped up.
But even people leaving Paintball Extravaganza, when I talked to Joe and I and Josh, we talked to everybody there. Gavin, not so much. And everybody had this optimism that this was the best Extravaganza, and we learned a lot, and we're excited to get back and get going.
Yeah.
and then this happens. You know what I mean? I mean, I know it's out of our control, but God, it's just frustrating.
But I'm not. Although the state of the world right now is in flux, and people aren't have an end date of where it's going to start up again. But I was pretty encouraged with PvE about all the fields that were collaborating together and talking about the industry. So I think adversity like this, we could see some prosperity of fields actually beginning to work together about growing this sport. So once we get out of this, and I know we will, but hopefully we can continue with that same spirit of really growing the game and making sure that we're working together to reach more people than we have in the past.
Yeah. The big thing from an industry standpoint is you hope these guys that we when we make it out of this, we put some resources in the right direction, right? And we're not maybe, I don't want to say spending frivolously, but maybe we're looking at the important stuff to spend money on, right? The infrastructure and making sure our dealers and fields are healthy and all that good stuff. So
yeah. I don't know. I have this optimism that when people are allowed to do things again, they're going to do it wholeheartedly. But is that going to last the whole season? I don't know. Or is this going to set a precedence? If this goes on any longer, is this going to set a precedence where people are going to be still afraid of not social distancing? I mean, everyone now, whether you're walking the streets or going to the grocery store, there's this unwritten respect to stay away from everybody. And it's a politeness thing, right? Like where you used to hold the door for people, now it's you get it, that people have to stay out of the way from you, right? Is that going to be some conscious thing that continues after all this? Are people still going to be constantly washing their hands? Like,
I think people are going to want to go outside, desperately.
Yeah.
We forget habits quickly if they're the right habits. Not to say that people aren't going to wash their hands or, whatever, but when it comes to people are going to want to recreate at whatever they do, especially coming out of being locked in your house with your family, you're going to want some fresh air. And whether you're an ATV guy or you're a paintball guy or you're whatever you are, we've seen paintball do pretty well in the grand scheme of things during recessions because people just want to get outside and play. They may not play 100 times that year, but they're going to play 3 or 4 times that year. And that's the part we can kind of look at and predict and go, hey, we make it out of this, relatively unscathed. We'll do all right. We just, without that end date that Gavin talked about, that's the struggle is when do we start to plan that ramp up?
Yeah. I'm going to give you that credit, Gavin. That's fine. Here's the thing. You go out anytime in the last couple of days when the weather's been nice and everybody is out. It's like this social thing. It's like when Pokemon Go first came out, people were out there. Everyone has nowhere to go, nowhere to be. So as soon as it's nice, they're outside dusting their eyes off. And it's really cool to see if we get this levee opened, people are, I think you're right. I think people are just going to get the hell out of their house and go and do things.
So I would agree with you, Todd, with that, because there's too many people who have forgotten what sort of state we're in right now. So there may be further sanctions, at least from our government. But when that is lifted, especially if there's tighter sanctions, we are looking at people who are just raring to go. So fingers crossed this passes fairly quickly because we all want to go back to our regular lives, and that includes paintball as well.
What they need to do is nip the internet in the bud and online gaming the week that we're allowed to go back out. So then people just get off their devices, get off the internet, and get out and get some fresh air and
contact internet service providers and just shut down.
Shut it down. You may see less people traveling to events as well. They may want to stay around, and there's a lot of push on shop support local as well. I think you might see players or even tourism be more of a localized thing to help support your local businesses that have struggled through this. This is groundbreaking.
Yeah. Well,
certainly unprecedented.
We all talked about where we were when the power went off in 2000 whatever that was, 2005, and we remember where we were when the towers came down and when O.J. Simpson, more importantly, was driving his Ford Bronco, unfortunately. I bet you if you did a poll, more people would know where they were when that was happening than when
we were making
9/11
the first
happened.
Phoenix project at Sean Roberts' house in Guelph. We were writing our first Phoenix project scenario game the spring after we went to a Wayne Dahl 24-hour game.
But I'm also hoping Peels can hang in there, because in 10 years from now, there'll be an influx of players with all the quarantine babies coming into the sport.
Yeah.
With December birthdays, right?
Or there's going to be less babies because people at home with more than one kid are thinking, what have I done?
Well, like I was explaining to my wife today, there won't be a lot of babies in 9 months from now because Pornhub has offered free premium memberships to all their people.
Didn't they rename it to, I think someone posted a screenshot, it was like Stay at Home Hub?
Yeah, I think so.
Screenshot.
Screenshot.
Screenshot ruined my carpet.
I've got another kid that's doing like a couple of days. Yeah.
A factory?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Josh's wife is due to give birth in a couple of days, and she's already pregnant with her next one. Look at the smile Josh has. I know. His babies can swim. His boys can swim.
I'm like, you know what, Josh, you need to wear tighter underwear, I promise you.
There's
No, you need to loosen that up.
Now, the only thing between Josh and you is a thick layer of thin layer of gabardine. Thank you, Josh. I think you're the only one that caught
Bottle
that.
of Hennigan's.
Yeah.
I was muted, I got it, damn it.
Are you a Seinfeld guy, Ben?
No, I never was for some odd reason.
Yeah. George, hey, in the live chat asked, does anyone remember when Gavin kicked off his first hopper?
I sure do, Skip. It became a religion after that point. I'm going to try to convert the whole world. We're going to kick hoppers off one at a time.
So we have Ben on the show. We should probably ask him what the next new product that's coming out that no one else knows about.
That no one knows about.
Can you tell us something? Can you give us
I can't.
No one's watching at this point, so you can go ahead and say it.
Everyone's gone. There's no sporting events.
The next products that are coming, the Scouts, our bolt action rifle, will be hitting our distribution center here in about 7 days. So first, yes. Okay, you got to wait a minute. Thank you. All right, sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
Well, it's okay. Unfortunately,
That's awesome.
Kids trump anything when you're working at home, right?
Yeah. So Scouts are going to roll in here in a week, and we have the Roscoe's hot on its tail, which is our revolver. That was the hot ticket, if you may, at PBE. So everyone's pretty hot to trot on that, and we're pretty excited about it. So
how far behind is the Roscoe? Are you at liberty to say, or not really?
Behind, we are actually right on schedule with it right now.
So when would that be if I was to look at a calendar?
This month we were expecting the first units. Where we're getting in trouble right now is the freight is being delayed. And that's where we're seeing most of our delays in our product is with our freight forwarders and with FedEx and DHL and so that's where we could see a delay on that one. Fortunately for us, the Scouts are already en route. The Roscoe's are the next one up, teed up for us. So
what about the tank? That's a big talked about item.
The tank,
1545.
Yeah. So the tank is that one's a little bit different. That one we're waiting on DOT approval. The tank has been built and proven, and we're ready to go. We just need that last certificate from the DOT for the ISO certification, so that unit can be built and brought in.
And you're sending 6-2 behind the bunker to test out for you, right?
Sure.
You heard it here.
Sure.
This show ain't free, Ben.
You didn't tell me the time frame, right?
See, I told you, Gavin, we should have had Quarles on here.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I guarantee you.
I know what the answer would have been if you asked that.
That's true.
I guarantee you, Ben will send us the first 6 that are out of hydro.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think if
Hopefully
anything,
we never get to that point.
Ben, with the crappy time he's had on the show tonight, he's going to send us 6 omens.
If I had 6 omens, I would love it. There's one floating around the office the other day.
I heard they melted all of them down and created Ladas.
No. Between those and the pimp kits, man, there was some sweet gems out there.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know what?
baby.
The pimp kit. What were they thinking? What a horrible trigger.
I don't know. I was just a lowly sales guy, man. I just hooked them. That's all I did.
And then someone brought in a scrap piece of aluminum and went, "That looks really good. We just put a trigger on it."
Yeah.
It's as everybody in this chat's done sales at one point or another, but it's one of those products you look at and you're like, shit, they seriously want me to sell this.
Well, so, again, we keep going back in the history here, but remember, we're coming off the heels at PMI where we were literally paintballs, air systems, and valve covers.
You're right.
Those were kind of our, flame drop forwards and, nipple caps and all sorts of accessories. But outside the Piranha line, we were just getting our ass handed to us.
Well, at least they took their pimp label over to Dye and had the proto redone. At least they kind of they looked at that. But I mean, whatever. And when National came on board, they had some of their SKUs that they could take, like the Intimidator and all that other sort of stuff. So it was good.
It was good.
That was
interesting.
Yeah. I just got a text notice, by the way, that we had a big social influencer just share our show. It was Werther's Original. So we're going to have 80-year-olds.
75 to 90-year-old demo. They're going to be really picking up. I see.
What is this?
Kids, the grandkids.
50 cal, low impact.
Low impact biddies.
You just see that going over to Grandma Grandpa's house and they got the podcast playing on the old dictaphone.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm sitting where Matt normally does, and all I see is water taffy candies.
You need to get mounts for walkers.
Yeah, that's
tennis
true.
balls for the bottom. BTV tennis balls.
Yeah, there you go. Ben, did you have fun tonight?
Certainly.
Yeah, because what else would you have done at home?
Yelled at the kids mostly.
Parenting.
Stupid parenting always gets in the way of my fun.
Yeah.
No, it was good. It'll be a memorable show because it was so disheveled.
Well, I wouldn't say disheveled. I mean, we're all cleaned up. It's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, I actually put a shirt on for this.
Yeah.
I know.
You know what? Some of our favorite shows
show.
is when we don't have content per se. Like, we normally have lots of content, viewer-submitted things, questions, all kinds of great stuff, and they're awesome. But sometimes the funnest nights for us is when we can just shoot the breeze.
Yeah.
All right, so Ben.
Yeah.
So, before we start signing off right now, what do you have to do to make your bosses happy?
My bosses?
Yes.
Oh.
Like Play-Doh with them?
Anything you need to chat about that you haven't chatted about?
Oh, no.
Okay.
The fortunate part is they let me be for in the grand scheme of things. Like I said earlier, the three divisions are so different. When they look at my division, they just kind of go, "Oh, the weird paintball guy, he'll figure it out." So and that's what I do.
Yeah.
So in the grand scheme of things, again, the takeaway is it's just disappointing because we really thought this year was going to be just an incredible year, and now we have to deal with this stunted piece, and let's just hopefully we can all get out of it healthy and move on, right?
Yeah. Well, forget First Strike, forget helping your company out. It's just nice to have you finally on the show. We get a chance to see you at Paintball Extravaganza every year, and we have limited conversation because we have to clear the booth for you to talk to all the other hordes of customers that are coming through, and it's just nice to be able to sit down and have a chat with you. We didn't, we probably could have talked about all kinds of things, but
I've been around for a long time. I've never been a marquee industry guy, but the history goes back, so I can name drop with the best of them, right?
Yeah. Are you looking forward to the paintball documentary coming out?
Indifference.
Really?
Sorry. Yeah. No, sorry.
I don't know.
Really?
He's like you, Todd. He's bitter because he's not in it.
No, I have no reason to be in it, but I am looking forward to it, and I think it's going to clarify a lot of that fake history that's going around where people think certain things happened or whatever. It'll kind of clear up some of that. And I have talked to John Omoda, and he and I are going to try to get together and get himself on the show within the next couple of weeks. So
to ruin his whole project.
Yes, where he should be editing, he'll just waste an hour with us. All right.
I mean, again, I was a relative latecomer from a lot of the guys who were in that. I'm still a baby.
So it happened in college for you?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, let's say farewell here, ladies and gentlemen. Ben, thank you very much for being on the program. It was awesome having you. It was nice to chat with you. And what about Joe Kimson from Flaggers Paintball?
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in and watching Behind the Bunker Live tonight. We'll see everybody Saturday night. Thanks, Ben. Be safe, everyone. Practice self-isolation, and we'll see everybody out on the field when we get the green light from our public health.
Very good. And Matt the Werthers, thank you for being on the show finally.
Yes, be sure to give your parents a call.
I missed you, goddammit. And Josh Subizabrickus, thank you for being on the show. I see you got dressed up.
Thank you, and thank you to Ben for wasting some time with us tonight. It's always fun chatting with you, and I wish everybody a happy and safe quarantine, and hopefully we all see each other at the end of this. Yeah.
And Gavin Sharma, last but not least.
Yes, my friends, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Ben, thank you for your time. And make sure you hit like and share if you haven't done so already. And don't forget, my friends, Saturday night we're going to be live again for more monstrosity of Behind the Bunker.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Don't be a freeloader. If you liked what you hear, make sure to hit the share button below. Also follow us on our social media outlets like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, ICQ, and now MySpace.